Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumedeva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Deva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanyatrambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shri Hanuman Ji Maharaj Ki Jai. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 12th of March 2025. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Paramatma residing in the heart of every single being. We're continuing to examine Advaita Vedanta every single day, different aspects of Advaita Vedanta, to realize the identity, the oneness with Brahman, that the Atma Tattva and the Brahma Tattva are one. There are thousands of ways of trying to understand this concept, just intellectually. There are many sadhanas also shown. There's almost like really no end to it. It is very profound, very interesting, and very meaningful in day-to-day life also. To continue from yesterday, we're going to go a little bit further into understanding the spiritual praxis. That the Brahman is the Sarva Karana Karana, meaning that the cause of all causes, and the distinction between ultimate and secondary causes have significant implications in both understanding the nature of creation and guiding spiritual practice. Cause of all causes, meaning that there is a framework for understanding both the inherent order and the ultimate contingency of creation. Meaning what? That creation has an inherent structure and order. Everything does. Our body does, the world around us, all the animals. Everything has a structure and an order. That is called an inherent order. And along with that, there is the ultimate contingency of creation. That means that the creation, utpatti, sarga, is contingent upon the ultimate substratum of reality, Brahman. So the observable order and regularity within Jagat are attributable to the operations of secondary causes, which function predictably according to laws and principles derived ultimately from Brahman. I know it's a mouthful, I'll break it down for you. What do we see outside? We observe order. In some sense, there's disorder also, but we also see quite a bit of order. Take plants, there's such a structure for the plants. Take mountains, there's a structure for the mountains. Take this human body, there is a morphological structure. So there's order there. So that is observable order, right? Let's go step by step. And observable order and regularity within Jagat. Cycles of times, the earth is spinning, there's cycles within us, within our bodies, etc. That is regularity. So there's observable order and there's regularity within the Jagat, meaning the world that we see, the waking world. And both of these are attributable to the operation of secondary causes. Meaning what? This body is a secondary cause from mother and father. Mother and father are more primary than this body. Then they are also secondary cause to some other cause. And there's a whole chain like this. Cause, effect, cause, effect, cause, effect. All the way up to Brahman. Or what is called Akshara Brahma. So the Brahman, Akshara Brahman, doesn't have any cause. And that's the whole point. That the observable order and regularity within Jagat are attributable to the operation of secondary causes, which function predictably according to laws and principles ultimately derived from the Akshardham or from the Akshara Brahma. They're derived from that Brahma Tattva, that the entire structure of the cosmos and all of the intermediate entities before even the cosmos is created are all derived out of that Brahma Tattva. However, the entire edifice of secondary causality and indeed creation itself is contingent upon Brahman's sustaining causal will and is not self-existent or inherently necessary. It means what? That the causal reality, one thing causes another, cause, effect, and creation itself, it is contingent upon the will of God, we can say, the will of Brahman, sustaining causal will. That is Ichha, Bhagavan ki Ichha Shakti. And it is not self-existent and inherently necessary. It cannot exist by itself independently. Meaning, for example, right now Sachin is speaking to you, this body is here. This mind is here, these glasses are here, this room is here. It doesn't exist independent of Brahman. The planet Earth doesn't exist independent of Brahman. So the entire edifice of secondary causality. Understand? You understand what is meant by edifice? Edifice means the built up of secondary causality structure. That the earth came from somewhere, from some other structure, from some other cause. That came from some other cause, from other cause, like this. There's cause, effect. Everything has a cause. So that cause is also the effect of some previous cause. This is called Karya Karana Sambandha. Cause-effect relationship. And that entire massive structure of cause-effect relationship for everything that exists in billions of universes, it is called the edifice of secondary causality. I know I'm using a little heavy language. I'm sorry about that. But it is important. I know we have to go slow. Make sure it's not hard to understand. Edifice of secondary causality. That means everything that exists, the Andromeda galaxy, the spiral galaxies, the Milky Way galaxies, things that we have seen through in the universe, clusters of galaxies. These are edifices of secondary causes, which is creation itself. Indeed, creation itself is contingent upon, meaning it is dependent upon the Brahman's sustaining causal will. The will of Brahman, the will of Bhagavan, Paramatma ki Ichha, that will of that supreme tattva, that is called the causal will. Causal meaning because it wills it into existence. That Parabrahma, that ultimate reality, creates a will that says, let creation be. And so the universes are not self-existent. And they are also not inherently necessary. Now what does that mean? Inherently necessary means that they do not have to exist. No. They exist only because of divine will. The galaxies we see, galaxy clusters, and what we consider to be the observable universe, and the Brahmand itself, it only exists because there is Divya Ichha, Bhagvat Ichha, Brahma ki Ichha, or Brahma ki Shakti. Advaita would say it that way. It doesn't have inherent necessity. You can see how amazing in this language is. Itme itna bharchak hai. So much tremendous truth is in this. But slowly. This understanding fosters a balanced perspective that appreciates the relative order within creation while recognizing its ultimate dependence on a transcendent ground. I'll explain it. Transcendent ground. Ground means what? Let's put it this way. Let's say you have children playing in the playground. How can the children play without a ground? Is it possible? No. They cannot play on the playground. Any game, doesn't matter. Soccer, football, tennis, anything. There has to be a substratum, a ground. Isn't it so? All right. Now you will see. So along those lines, there is the ground. That is consciousness. That ground is consciousness. That ground is substantial. That is a transcendental ground. This word transcendental, I'll explain what that means. The word transcend means to go beyond in English. The word transcendental means that which is beyond. Transcendental ground meaning that ground which is beyond creation. In Sanskrit or in Gujarati we say alaukik. Laukik, alaukik. So that ground, that substratum, that ultimate reality upon which all of the billions of universes, Anandagori Brahmand, they are coming and going, dancing, coming and going, coming and going. Mahavishnus come and go. Universes come through Mahavishnu. Universe तो कुछ भी नहीं है. विष्णु है, भगवान विष्णु है, उसके ऊपर है महाविष्णु. And those Mahavishnus are also like bubbles. विचार तो just try to imagine this thing. विष्णु भगवान सब ब्रह्मांडों से ऊपर है. ब्रह्मांड come out of the विष्णु. पर ऐसे अनंत विष्णु महाविष्णु के एक पार्ट में है. Infinite Vishnus are within one Mahavishnu. Infinite Mahavishnus are like bubbles in Brahman. Just think about this. We cannot possibly imagine what is that Brahman. Beyond imagination, totally. We cannot even imagine the 14 lokas. We cannot imagine the Vishnu Bhagwan himself. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiv, asankhya Brahma, Vishnu, Shiv hai. And they are coming out of Virat Purush or Virat Narayan, or इसको वैराज पुरुष भी कहते हैं. उसको महाविष्णु भी कहते हैं. और वो जो being है, that being is coming out of Mahatattva, and that Mahatattva is coming out of Pradhan Purush. That Pradhan Purush is sometimes called Mahavishnu also. And that Pradhan Purush is coming out of Prakriti, Mool Purush. It's beyond our understanding all this thing. We cannot possibly imagine. There's Shiva and there's Parashiva. There's Devi and there's Mahadevi. There's Shakti and there's Adya Shakti. So it has gradation at their level. The Ishwaras have gradation. Just like we have gradation of beings here, the Ishwaras have gradation beings in their realm. And they all exist under Brahman. And that Brahman and the Atman have the same substance. Abhi kya amazing baat hai ye? Ki tum hi wo Brahma ho. My God, what do you mean? I feel like I'm a small being with this mind and this and this. What are you talking about? This is the stark proclamation of Advaita. That all of this that exists, that is you. My God, kaise ho sakta hai? That is a realization when that ground of being, that independent cause, that ultimate causal agency, the primary causality, that which eternally exists, is realized. Param drushtva nivartate vishya vinivartante niraha rasidehina rasavrajam rasopesya param drushtva nivartate param drushtva. the perception, the opening into that vision, into that consciousness from inside, by throwing the shackles of the waking dream and deep sleep state. The shackles, the chains of Jagrat Avastha, the chains of Sushupti Avastha, which are even more difficult to understand, and the chain of Sushupti Avastha, isko to koi par kar hi nahi sakta. That is the unconscious state almost. You're not conscious of anything. There's no experience in Sushupti Avastha, deep sleep state. All three are massive binding. In Gunatitanand Swamini Vato, Sadguru Gunatitanand Swami mentioned in Gujarati, કે જીવને સુષુપ્તિ અવસ્થા એટલે મહામાયાનો છાંટો નાખ્યો છે. He explained it in such a way. What a statement that is. The Jivatma is lost in Mahamaya. This total darkness. You see? And to activate Mahamaya, the Brahman puts energy inside. And then from there, from that, this Jivatma is given these bodies. And the Sushupti Avastha is a small glimpse of that beginningless engulfment in unexpressed Mahamaya. I know it's a thodi tatvik baat hai. That is actually what is Sushupti. Abhi isko, to really, we would need 10-15 hours to understand that in more detail. We would need many, many days probably just to understand, to unpack what is meant by Sushupti Avastha, and then how that is connected into the Brahman itself, and then the Mahamaya. It's all very, very intricate stuff. But for our purposes, we have Anubhav of Sushupti Avastha. For our purposes here, because we don't have 15 hours to spend on this, we have to do it in a few minutes. And that is that the Sushupti Avastha is such that when the sadhak is awakened from inside and has reached Jivan Mukta state, the person, the brain, the mind, or the Atmic consciousness is fully awake in the Sushupti Avastha. You are the mandir. तुम स्वयं मंदिर बन जाते हो. भगवान की प्रतिष्ठा अंतर में हो जाती है. वो amazing बात है. We are worshipping, we're worshipping God outside. Okay, again, this morning satsang, this is all Advaita Vedanta. It's a very high level satsang that we are doing. I don't know how much, it's difficult to express what it really is. But it is a stage of realization where the inner world is brimming with wisdom, with jnana. It's brimming with clarity. It's brimming with heightened realization. That's why there are Santa Parampara in Sanatana Dharma. They can live that saintly life within a certain range because they are evolving from inside constantly. They are not begging in the sansar as the people in the world are doing after the Panch Vishayas. They are the most poor people. The most poor people in this world who are beggars of these Panch Vishayas. I have to have this to eat, and I have to see this, and I have to do this, and constantly running madly in this world. They're the most poor people. And who are the most rich people? Who have realized the Atman. इसमें फर्क है, कितना फर्क है? In the realization of Brahman and the Atman, क्या प्रश्न ही नहीं है. Infinite universes are inside, are available for you to see. Where's the issue of this small world and the private airplanes? And these things are foolish. They have no consequence at all. Even if you were to go as an astronaut and have a big mansion inside the space somewhere, it has no consequence. None. It's shunya, it's a big zero. It has absolutely no consequence in comparison to the realization of Brahman. Brahma ka realization kaisa hai कि in that realization that I am Brahman, infinite universes are within one speck of who you are. Where's the question of planets or galaxies? वो तो नजर में भी नहीं आते सब. They are અણુની પેઠે બ્રહ્મના એક રોમની અંદર અક્ષરના એક રોમમાં અણુની પેઠે ફર્યા કરે છે. અનંત કોટી બ્રહ્માંડ. Where's the question of Milky Way? इसका कोई मीनिंग नहीं है. There's no question of Milky Way galaxy. It's a tiny speck only. It has no consequence at all. And in terms of the pralay, it will be gone at one point. It is underneath time. Kal, karma, maya. It is underneath that. One who, Shankaracharya ji and all the acharyas are talking beyond all these galaxies, bilaxis. They are not concerned with these galaxies. The Rishi Muni from Vedic time, they could see all those galaxies and much more than that, and leave all that aside. Kitna advanced hai. Can you imagine how advanced this is? There's a scripture called Yog Vashishta. That is the Updesham given to Bhagwan Ramchandraji by Vishishta Muni. But he's a teenager. And it is one of the highest Vedantic scriptures ever written. It is also called Maharamayan. Hindi mein bhi milta hai. You can find it online also. Just put Yog Vashishta. And English translations are there. It's all about this thing that we're talking about right now. About the Brahmand and Brahma, Vishnu, Shiv and the Brahma Tattva and Chidakash. It stops at Chidakash. It says that and in fact, the Art of Living Foundation, Shri Ravi Shankar ji ka jo foundation, Art of Living, they have actually published that as an audio. They have published the entire scripture. I bought it years back. It's called Yoga Vashishta. How amazing these things are. That billions of universes come and go, come and go, come and go. Every Brahmand is controlled by Brahma, Vishnu, Shiv. The yogis can see all of this. So when we are talking about Akshara Brahma, and what we're talking about today in terms of the cause-effect relationship, that Sarva Karana Karanam, Sarva Karana Karanam. That it is the cause of all causes, the ultimate causal principle that grounds and governs all other forms of causality. All other forms of causality are governed by that one supreme cause. But to access that, many paths are shown. Definitely. If we want to access that extraordinary dimension and not play around with the objects of the world anymore like children, want to grow up, want to be mature, it's called spiritual maturity. If we want to stop playing around with Kam, Krodh, Lobh, stop playing around with Irsha and sab dosha. We talked about so many times. Bakwas baat hai sab wo. It has no meaning at all. It's flush it down. It's useless. Take it and flush it literally from one's life. It's meaningless. Separate it out completely and bring out the absolute bright light of psychological consciousness in the mind. This is called Viveka. इसको विवेक कहते हैं. वो तो करना ही चाहिए. And without that, this is never possible. This clear demarcation between Satyam and Asatyam, Vivek and Avivek, darkness and light, that is called Guru. Guru. Gu means darkness. Ru means light. In our lives, and Sachin is speaking only for Sachin. If you are listening to this, you take what you want from here. It's up to each person. We can separate it from inside. The gurus outside are the guru inside. There's nothing outside. It's all inside. The Gita that we see outside, bring it inside. Bhagwan Krishna ki jo murti hai bahar, bring it inside. Bring everything inside. Don't keep it outside. The outside is just a beginning. Close the distance through the mind. Bring it inside. And that bringing inside is enhanced bhakti upasana. the absolute oneness with that which one is bringing inside is Advaita. It is Tat Tavam Asi. In Shikshapatri, भगवान स्वामीनारायण बहुत सुंदर बात करते हैं. शिक्षापत्री श्लोक 111. He said, at times, Shri Radhika ji is on the left side of Sri Krishna Paramatma. And at times she is absorbed inside Sri Krishna Paramatma. And when she is absorbed inside, Sri Krishna shall be known as one. This is Advaita. This is where we are. This is our goal. To absorb inside Sri Krishna, to absorb inside the Ishta. This is, and see, as sadhana continues, as bhakti continues, our deha abhiman, our ego, our vasanas, these things are preventing total absorption. But when total absorption is there, we are still living in the world, we are freed. मुक्त हो गए. किसी के साथ कुछ नहीं रहता. पूर्ण वैराग्य, पूर्ण ज्ञान. Or then you are rolling in joy. But in the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Gopikas are absorbed like this into Sri Krishna in the Ras Panchadhyay. That is why the 10th canto, Dasam Skand, in Shikshapatri में भी भगवान स्वामीनारायण बहुत सुंदर बात करते हैं उनके about himself. He says that this is my Bhakti Shastra. The 10th canto, or Yoga Shastra is the 5th canto. Why does Bhakti scripture? Because Bhakti is intense love for the Ishta Devata to the level of the Gopikas, where they are absorbed in Sri Krishna and he is absorbed in them. They are one, constantly one. This is called Prem Lakshana Bhakti. This is called the 10th Bhakti, Dasmi Bhakti. The 9 forms of devotion are sadhana, Navadha Bhakti, Navavidha Bhakti, as we have said before. What is the goal here? In that realization, Bhagwan ke dham bhi dikh sakte hai. Brahman is, now even this realization of Brahman, as per the acharyas that came after Shankaracharya ji, they said that is just the very, very tip of the iceberg. Abhi kya baat hai ye? Even that infinite consciousness is just a layer, just one layer. The भगवान का धाम जो है उसका effulgence है. It is the effulgence of Goloka. My goodness. See the Vaishnava scriptures. See what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote. See what they're talking about. भगवान क्या है? परब्रह्म क्या है? अक्षर धाम जिसको कहते हैं, इसमें जो धामी है, अक्षर धाम में जो धामी, that is the Lord actually, Parabrahman. This is only the effulgence. Incredible. We cannot imagine any of these things. But it's not. You see, imagination goes only so far. Realization. भगवान की कृपा से इसका realization सब होता है. Then you're sitting for puja. You're sitting with the eyes, just sitting for 5 minutes. 5 minutes earth time could be 1,000 years at the higher level. Yes. Only 5 minutes have gone here, but thousands of years have actually been experienced. There's a discussion about this in Garada Madhya 20 Vachanamrut. About Samadhi, those who go into Samadhi and come back, it seems like they have forgotten so many things. It's not that they have actually forgotten anything, but they have seen something so extraordinary. This worldly experience, it's like it's not there. It's there, but they come back into the body, into the waking world. This interesting discussion is there in Garada Madhya 20 Vachanamrut. Someday we'll cover that in maybe it's the Gujarati recordings, probably covered in the Vedas recordings. But I'll mention just a few points here about that, and we'll do a closing in just a second here. Can you imagine this thing? That is somebody sitting for dhyan within just 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and 5 minutes earth time, thousands of years at the higher consciousness have gone by. Because there's no time there. भगवान के धाम में कोई टाइम नहीं है. It's beyond time. And that dham that we say, Bhagavad Dham, that is beyond all of these Swarga lokas, the 14 lokas. It's beyond all of that. It is beyond even Brahmaji's loka. Even Brahmaji, there's a story, let me close with this one. Brahmaji, the story goes from Vishnu Bhagwan. He was born from the Nabhi Kamal. He's sitting on the lotus, Brahmaji. And he walked for his 50 years to find where he came from. He couldn't find the end of that. His 50 years. His 1 second is 660 years. He's walked for 50 years like that. He couldn't find the Virat Purush. इतने पर तत्व है वो. So these are the mind-boggling things that are written in the scriptures. We don't know, what Sanatan Dharma actually is. What is its potency? What is its opening into the reality, the cosmos, into the trans-cosmos, not just cosmos, beyond cosmos upon cosmos. Amazing. These are ideas that are written, but they're not just ideas, they are accessible. If, and this is a big if we clean up the mind. It has to be completely cleaned up. 100% शुद्धिकरण, शुद्धता, शुद्ध मन होना चाहिए, पवित्र मन होना चाहिए. इसमें से दिव्य अंतकरण बन जाता है. And then the preparation is there for all of this to actually be available and to open up. So this is I know this is a little bit heavy, but this is what we are talking about every day, about Advaita Vedanta. So thoda hoga hi thoda heavy. But anyway, that's what it is. Let's stop here for now. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Ganganapate Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha. Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvadam Divilingaya Nama. Urdhvalingaya Nama. Anandalingaya Nama. Dwadash Jyotirlingaya Nama. Suryaya Nama. Chandraya Namaha. Om Kalakandakataya Namaha. Om Navachakarangaya Namaha. Om Brahmacharine Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Om Shri Uma Maheshwara Swamine Namaha. Om Shri Radha Krishna Arpanamastu. Om Shri Durga Arpanamastu. Om Durga Rakshini. Tha Tha Swaha. Om Shri Durga Arpanamastu. Om Hrim Swaha.